Hello, my wonderful wolf pack, and welcome to another episode of Dawnbringer SMP Lore. And in this episode, it's going to be another one like the Final Talk with Golden episode, in which it'll be me trying to voice act and reading off of our Discord scripts. Because, again, availability issues and just my own enjoyment of text RP. So there will be multiple of these, so yeah. So this is another YouTube exclusive. I hope you all enjoy. And this one takes place just a couple days after Star first met, in person, with the Snow Queen. I hope you all enjoy. Star pets Cassiopeia while reading in her library. It's been a pretty relaxing time, hasn't it, Cass? Cass howls in response. Yeah. Want to go outside and do something? Cassiopeia jumps up and wags her tail. She drops into a playful pose and then runs in a circle, barking, Okay, I get it. Star stands up and stretches. She walks over to a bookshelf and places the book back. Let's go outside, Cass. Cassiopeia jumps into Star's arms and she carries him up the ladder. They head out and play for a while. Hey, you want to go and see Emunah again? We can talk to her about my progress with fauna magic and see if there's anything else she can teach me about being a werewolf. Cass runs toward the minecart track. Star follows and gets in the minecart first. Cass sits on her lap. Star grunts in response, getting used to the added weight. Alright, let's go. Star hits the button and they ride the minecart track down to Yonk's temple. Cassiopeia jumps out and runs ahead. Hey, wait for me! Star laughs and follows her to Emunah's house. Once they arrive, Star knocks on the door with Cassiopeia at her heel. The Harbinger is trotting down the path toward her shared home with Ryan. A dead sheep slung over her shoulders. She hadn't hunted anything for a few weeks and had finally given into her instinctive urges. A couple wisps dutifully followed her, chattering through little chimes and eerie bell-like sounds with one another. Oh? Seems like Star is back around. Emunah pauses a moment as she takes notice of who is at the front door. Readjusting the carcass for the last little leg of her journey, she starts down the path once again, calling out a greeting as she gets within earshot. Hello there, Star. What are you up to? Star turns around and smiles. Hi, Emunah. Nothing much. I just thought I would pay a friend a visit. She smiles and wags her tail. I've been practicing fauna magic as often as I can. I've been able to grow all kinds of flowers so far. I've grown rose bushes, cornflowers, dandelions, poppies, and more. And I have even been following your advice and not wearing my crown when practicing. She smiles. Emunah beams at the werewolf, fangs flashing within the darkness of her hood. I'm proud of you, Star. Honestly, you smell like flowers, so I take it as a good sign of your magic prowess improving. She grunted as she swung the carcass off her shoulders and laid it in the grassy lawn in preparation for the meat to be butchered. Do you think you can give me a quick demonstration? And then, if you're up for it, I want to know if you had any luck with your lichen instincts. Star beamed, and her tail started wagging even faster. Sure, I'd be happy to. She walks over to the grass and kneels down. She takes her crown off and places it next to her, then places her right hand on the ground and closes her eyes, focusing. She takes a deep breath and begins to use her magic. Her amulet begins to glow brilliantly, and in no time, a lilac begins to sprout up. Taller and taller it grows until it reaches 2 meters in height, and blooms. She opens her eyes and beams at her creation. Ta-da! She laughs a bit. Now, to answer your other question, not much. Things have been relatively calm around me as of late. The only instance I can think of is when I just got back from the Snow Queen's palace and was talking to Golden about his plans to keep her out. I was getting pretty angry pretty quickly about it. She looks away in guilt and mumbles to herself. I should really apologize to him about that. She shakes her head and returns to the topic at hand. Aside from that, nothing much. I haven't really been focusing on that, I'll be honest, but we can now if you want. She smiles. Emunah hums under her breath as she uses her claws to swiftly go about butchering and quartering the sheep, laying the wool in one pile and the meat in another. She glanced up to see Star using her magic, and she made a low chirr of pride at the sight of the lilac. Well done! The Harbinger smiles and wipes the blood and bits of stray wool from her hands. So, you say you got upset with Golden? That doesn't seem like you. She commented as she got to her feet, stretching. Did your temper flare because of the stress of facing the Queen, or for a different reason, I wonder? Her head tilted in curiosity. Star grabs the crown and puts it back on and thinks for a moment, while also getting slightly distracted by petting Cass. She looks down in slight guilt. Yeah, I feel bad about that. I don't think it was the stress of meeting the Queen. That went over really well. I just think it was because I didn't like the plans he came up with. One was to literally make the wards and leave Jet outside the area they protect just in case they can kill her. Like, that's a ridiculous plan, right? I knew that would never fly. And it showed that he still wasn't willing to listen to me when it comes to taking the peaceful solution. So far, it seems to be working on my end, I think. I just need more time to talk to her. It just frustrated me that he was still willing to go through with more hurtful or maybe even violent solutions. She looks down, clearly irritated by the mere thought of a violent solution. The gems on her crown glow brightly. Cassiopeia puts his head on Star's lap and calms her down. Emunah had to suppress a hiss of incredulity and shoots a disdainful glare at the crown as the gems flashed. You are right about that plan with Jet not flying. I'd rather not have what little is left of my family be killed. Her blue eyes blaze with protective anger and fear for a split second before she manages to calm herself down, blowing out a long, deep exhale. Just the thought of anything happening to Jet or Ryan sent icy blades through her core. Still, I don't think violence will really get us anywhere with the Ice Hag. However, I still very much disagree with a fully pacifist route like you wish, Emunah replies as she turns back to begin sorting through the mutton to put away for later. I'm not going to play nice if she tries to enslave or harm my loved ones. She already has Jet in her talons, and that is more than enough to wish her ill. Her tone held a bitter edge, claws a bit too rough as she shoved the meat into a leather bag. Star nods. I can understand, but I still want to give it my best effort, since no one else will. But we've gone over this already. Let's focus on the whole Lycan thing. Star laughs nervously. She gives a nod and takes a couple deep breaths, forcing off the dark mood that wanted to fall over her every time the Ice Queen was mentioned. All right. So, has anything developed since we last spoke? Or, if not, I guess, is there anything you'd like to try and focus on specifically that you want to figure out? Emunah questions as she turns to face Star again. I'm not an expert in lycanthropes, but you should have developed some sort of instincts by now, even if it's just basic. Star breathes a sigh of relief and thinks for a moment. Nothing really, I think, is developed. I guess one thing I want to focus on is that aforementioned temperament. I want to get control of that so I don't have any sudden outbursts like what happened with Golden. I mean, it's natural to be angry and frustrated. Didn't sound like you did anything all that bad from what I can tell, Emunah replied, blinking slowly. I don't think I've ever actually seen you angry. It's a bit hard to help you control a temper I've not seen any signs of so far. Star tilts her head. True, that's fair, but I just don't like how easy I am to set off, I guess. So we need to make me angry. How should we do that? The Harbinger is silent for several minutes, tapping her claws together in a contemplative manner. Star seems pretty difficult to really piss off. She's probably too passive to really get angry if I challenge her. Emunah muses as her glowing eyes study the werewolf. Her attention then shifts to the dog sitting vigilantly at its master's feet, and a sick but brilliant idea suddenly pops into her head. Temper usually shows if something dear is threatened. I hope Star will forgive me for this. Within the blink of an eye, her demeanor changed. Emunah threw back her hood to expose her features. Void black skin, quills that fluttered and twitched with flattened, feathery tufts at the ends. A mouthful of sharp fangs and blue eyes set into black sclera. Brutal scars marred her throat and left cheek, giving her an even more unhinged look as she bared her teeth and hissed at Cassiopeia. Emunah switched to a predatory stalk, making it obvious she was intent on violence. Let's see how Star reacts if her pet is threatened. Star is stunned for a moment before Cassiopeia's growl snapped her out of it. No! Emunah is a friend, not an enemy. I doubt she means any harm. Star turns her attention to Emunah. Emunah, is this really necessary? You don't need to harm Cass to try and make me mad. Just target me. I'm the one you need to make mad, not her, so threaten me. She pleads, hoping Emunah will start aiming for her and not her friend. Emunah shot the werewolf a quick look before her attention returned to the snarling dog. You never really got mad for yourself. Well, time to test your mettle, pup. And with a growl, the Harbinger charges at Cassiopeia, slightly hoping to spur Star into action.
Oh my God.
Cassiopeia lunges at Emunah with a ferocious growl and tries his best to fight back. Star freezes for a moment, too scared to do anything. Flashbacks to her parents' deaths enter her mind, but after a growled yelp from Cassiopeia, she jumps in. She rushes in and tackles Emunah to the ground with a growl, her eyes red and her ears pinned back. Emunah, stop! You're hurting Cass! I thought you were better than this! I know you want to make a point, but this isn't the way to do it! She growls and takes out her sword and stands in front of Cassiopeia defensively, waiting for another move to be made by the Harbinger. That's it! She grins as she picks herself up, shaking out her cloak before going back into her offensive position. Come on and fight me, Star. Show me what you're really made of. Because if you don't, you may one day lose your life. Emunah locks eyes with the other predator and growls, quills bristling up and pupils turning into slits as the thrill of the hunt and her instincts took over. She had to make this other carnivore understand exactly what was at stake before she could even hope of helping control herself. Star had strength on her side, but did she have the speed? Emunah lunges forward again, stopping short the same way she did with Cassiopeia. She'd not touched the brave dog, but her false attack had startled it, which in turn has led to Star finally taking action. Now let's see if she can keep it up. Star swung her sword, making sure not to hit Emunah, just to threaten her. Her heart rate increased as she kept going back and forth with Emunah, her tail wagging, not out of joy, but stress. Her eyes were still a brilliant red. She made sure to stay in front of Cassiopeia at all times as to not give Emunah an opening to attack her. A feeling was coming over her the more they went back and forth, something she had not felt in a long time. She continued to growl as her eyes dilated and more of her instincts started to take over. Adrenaline was pumping through her veins the entire time, but only now did it feel like it picked up speed. The shepherd gives the other hunter a feral grin and after several more false swipes and lunges, seizes her attacks. Do you feel it, Star? That fury, the adrenaline, the desperate fear to keep what you love safe. Emunah keeps her gaze locked with Star's, but tilts her head just slightly to bare her scarred throat in a gesture of submission and surrender. That is good. Now, I want you to take a deep breath and list five things you can see. Take stock of the situation and breathe. Cassiopeia is all right, and you are alive. Emunah's voice took on a soft, calm quality, trying to coax the werewolf down from the aggression. Star growled and stood in front of Cassiopeia, too scared to listen. Adrenaline and instincts taking hold of her mind. Cassiopeia stops growling at the sign of surrender and looks at his alpha. Seeing that she was scared, Cass jumps and paws at Star's arms. Star notices and looks down at Cassiopeia, trying to calm her down. Taking a breath, she starts to speak. I can see the grass. Some flowers, Cassie, you, and some trees. She stops growling and puts her sword away, opting to pet Cass instead. Emunah regards the other with weary eyes, despite, and grins still barely curling the corner of her mouth. I apologize for the scare I've caused you, Star, but to be perfectly honest with you, you are too passive whenever subjects of danger are brought up. The Harbinger sighed and rubbed absently at the scars on her throat. It's a good quality to not want to fight and to avoid conflict, but sometimes it is necessary to confront that which seeks to oppose or harm you. If not for yourself, then for the sake of those you care for. Emunah's voice dropped to a somber cadence, eyes glazing over slightly before she shook herself and offered a sad little smile. How are you feeling? Your instincts certainly came to the fore. Now you know what they're like, and you know the feeling of them somewhat. Her head tilted, studying Star again. Tough love, I suppose. Ryan had to do the same with me more than once. Gods, I hope I am getting through to her. Star pets Cassiopeia and sits down, still trying to calm down. Yeah, I can understand. It's just that I've been racked with violence my whole life, so can you blame me for wanting to take the peaceful way out? I watched my own family die right in front of me. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want anyone to get hurt, even the Snow Queen. No one deserves to go through anything like what I have. I just want to keep everyone safe without having to use my weapons. And I know that I've tried asking for help in the past and nearly being killed for it. Star holds Cassiopeia tight as her throat closes up slightly and tears come to her eyes due to the memories. When my parents were killed by our old wolf pack, they chased me away to protect their hunt. I ran all the way back to the village that exiled us due to us being werewolves. I asked the guards to help me, or tried to. I wasn't great at talking as a wolf back then. Heck, I don't even know if I could now. Anyways, when I asked them, they just attacked me due to their fear of werewolves. I ran as fast as I could, but they caught up to me and nearly killed me. A bit later is when Golden found me. So I know that talking may not be a great option. It's nearly killed me before. But I just don't like hurting anyone. I only bring out my sword when my instincts take over. Otherwise, I'm going to talk my way out of any given situation. I just don't want anyone to suffer like I have. Star hugs Cassiopeia and cries for a while. Cass wraps her head over her shoulder in an attempt to hug Star. She's silent and simply sits across from Star, keeping her distance while the other finally seems to let out the grief she'd been holding back. Her story was all too painfully familiar to her own life. I got the scars on my throat because people didn't like my warnings of danger. They decided the best way to deal with me was to try and rip out my vocal cords. Emunah murmured, after some time had passed. She glanced up at the werewolf as she traced a claw through the dirt, the other hand still massaging her throat. I understand your pain pretty well, and I would do anything to make sure my loved ones never have to feel even a fraction of what I've been through. The Harbinger heaves a deep sigh as she says, You cannot always talk your way out of everything. My husband has a similar philosophy to yours, but even he has drawn his blade to kill before. You are going to be taken advantage of if you don't face the reality that you must fight sometimes. Emunah's blue gaze is sad though her expression is stern, fierce. You not wanting to harm anyone is admirable, but it is not going to save you in the long run. Not here. Not in this realm. Star sniffles as she calms down and wipes the tears from her eyes, which are even more red and puffy. I understand. Though, I'll keep trying with the Snow Queen, since it seems to be working so far. She has taken a liking to me, so maybe with a bit more time, I can convince her otherwise. And as for your story, I feel bad. Those people shouldn't have done that. You didn't deserve it. I know that talking may not save me in the long run, but it can help. It seems to be helping now. Star takes a deep breath, calming down from her grief, but not enough to change her eyes back. Cassiopeia licks Star to try and make her smile. Star cracks a half smile at that. Thanks, Cass. I'm happy you're okay. She pets Cassie. It's not working. You're just following further into her trap. Soon you'll be under her thrall. Emunah thinks bitterly, but doesn't say anything more, knowing she'd just be wasting her breath. There was no way she'd be able to convince Star of the folly of consorting with the Ice Queen, not without proof that affected Star personally. And that's what infuriated the shepherd the most if she dwelled too long on it. They'd all told the werewolf of what had happened, how much hurt that vile fae had caused. Even if she felt distant now because of her memory loss, Emunah could still feel Yonk and Jet's pain when they spoke of the old world, or showed her the memories of that time. And Star always just seemed to brush it all off. No, violence like what Golden suggested wasn't the answer. But neither was the blind peace Star hoped for either. Gods, why can't things just be simple? She internally sighs, and just watches the werewolf pet her faithful dog. Star works on calming herself down, and eventually her eyes shift back to their normal brown. Sorry for bringing down the mood. I just needed to get my point across, just like you did. On another topic, I did enjoy that fake fight we had. It was invigorating. I felt like a wolf all over again. It was nice. I haven't felt that way in a long time. Thanks for that. I'll make sure to be more willing to fight for those I care for, if the need arises. But for me, discussion will always be my first option when it comes to confronting anyone. The gems on Star's crown glow brightly, and have been glowing throughout the fight. They did stop briefly when she cried, but they ignited again when she spoke of the Snow Queen once more. The color in Star's eyes seems to dull slightly, and yet Star doesn't seem to notice. Emunah huffs softly, but waves the apology off. Well, I'm glad I could help you reignite your instincts a bit, she said slowly as she pulled her hood back over her head, obscuring her features back into her impenetrable darkness save for her glowing eyes. Star smiles. Yeah, it was fun. Is there anything else you want to teach me? I don't have anything off the top of my head, to be honest, Emunah muses slowly. Star nods and stands up. Alright, thanks again for this. I'll see you around. She pets Cassiopeia once more and runs home. Emunah watches her leave with an exhausted expression. I pity her, she muttered to no one as she got up and headed back inside. And that's everything. I hope you all enjoyed this read-through episode of Dawnbringer SMP Lore. As I said, there will be more of these in the future, because since then I have done quite a bit of text RP. So, YouTube folk, you're going to be getting a lot of exclusive episodes. Hope you enjoy them. And if you want to keep up with any of the lore that isn't exclusive to here, feel free to go follow my Twitch, which is linked in the description. And if you want to talk to fellow fans like you, feel free to join the Discord, which is also in the description. And if you want to support me even further, feel free to sub to my Patreon, which is linked in the description. It's just a good way for you to support me. Because, yeah, I have started one, and there are quite a few good tiers. You can even commission me for a few things if you subscribe at a high enough tier. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!